Okay, I'm going to do exponents. Just as multiplication is used to show repeated addition, exponents show repeated multiplication. An exponent is a small number raised to the right of the number called the base. The exponents show how many times the base is multiplied by itself. So I'm going to actually go backwards. That was an exponent on there, but let's go back to multiplication. When you were in elementary school, you were adding 2 plus 2, okay? And you got 4, right? Mm-hmm. But eventually you got to the idea that I might need to add a lot of things. I might have to go 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, and that's a lot of writing. And there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 2s, and so they came up with a way to make it easy to write. Instead of doing 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, we wrote 2 times 5. That's the fast way of doing all that plus, 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 plus. And so multiplication, exponents is the same way. So instead of me writing 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, that's a lot of writing. So we come up with this way of simplifying it, and we said 2 to the, and there's 4 of them, so we say 4th power. So it's a way to shorten our writing down into new symbols, okay? And so this one they said was the base, and that number up there is called the exponent. Terrible. I have to squeeze it in there a little bit better. There it is. Okay, looks better anyway. All right, so if I had 6 squared, that just means 6 times 6, right? Because there's 2 of them. We can figure that out quick. It was 36, right? So if I had 5 to the 3rd power, that would be 5 times 5 times 5, and that would be 25, and 25 times 5.
This one?
I think 25.
125, yeah.
And so then, since we're in algebra, we can't just do numbers, we have to do letters. So if I had x to the 4th power, that would be
x times x times x times x.
There you go.
Okay, that's not hard at all.
Not hard at all.
Is that it? Really?
Pretty much. We're going to talk about where we would use exponents. We're going to talk about when we're doing area and you're trying to figure out like how much carpet's on the floor, or how much wallpaper goes on the wall, or how much paint you need to paint. This was in square units, and so if I had, that was 1 by 1, this is 1 square. Let's say if this was an inch, that could be 1 square inch. Actually, I need to put another little dot for inch. If this was 1 foot, that would be 1 square foot. Okay.
Right. Okay.
And so, what would I to do to figure it out? If I had a square room,
That made a funny noise.
and I had 5 feet on that side, and 5 feet on that side. To do area, we just multiply this 5 times 5.
25.
And instead of writing 5 times 5, to the simplified way, we could have written 5 squared, which is 25. And so that would be 25, and since we're doing area, and it's in feet, we need to do square feet.
Okay.
Okay. But there's an even, so anytime we have a square, we would put a square, a shape that's a square shape, we would put the square there. But if we had something more, and we had a box, and so if this side here was also 5, and this one was 5, and this one was 5, and this time we wanted to know how much water we could use to fill that up, we would take the length times width times height, and we, instead of writing 5 times 5 times 5, we'll write 5 to the 3rd power.
Okay.
So we'll do it cubed, and that'll be the 125. And we, instead of writing square feet, because these are going to be feet again, we're going to do cubic. And we don't have to even write that word out, because mathematicians, again, have a shorthand notation. We could just feet cubed.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Mathematicians like to
Make
not
things
write a lot.
more, yeah.
Make things easier. Now we just learned about negatives and positives, so we better go along and see what happens when we do negatives and positives. So, what if I had something squared? Okay, let's do that one first. Or to the 2nd power. Okay, so if I had negative 2 to the second power. If I had a negative squared, that's going to be a negative 2 times a negative 2, right?
Right.
That's going
So
to be
positive
It's going to be a positive, and I'm just going to write the positive there. It would be a 4. You're right. So what if we did it cubed? So now
Negative 2 times negative 2
Yes.
times negative 2.
So if I do it cubed, negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. What kind of a numbers am I going to get there? Let me get a negative or a positive answer.
A negative.
Yeah, because this is going to turn into a positive.
Mm-hmm.
And then a positive times a negative is going to give us a negative. Now let's don't worry about what number we're going to have. Let's just do a negative, okay? If I do it to the 4th power, now I'm going to have a negative, some negative number, another negative number, another negative number. What kind of number am I going to have at the end?
A positive.
All right. Do you see any patterns happening here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What do you see?
When there's 2 negatives, it makes positive. And if you have, you know, like 2, if you have it in pairs, like you can just pair it. You're fine.
All right. So
You can do it when
Yeah.
there's in pairs of negatives. You can just pair them up, and they'll make positive if it's an even number.
right. So if it's an even number, that's a really good thing. So if I had, so you said something about even. So if I did a huge number, like a negative to the 53rd degree, or a negative to the 58th degree.
That will be negative, and that will be positive.
Yes, because this is an even, and this one
Is odd.
is odd, okay? So you don't even have to worry. You might have to figure out the number to that highest power, but you wouldn't have to do much figuring on the negatives and positives. Okay, so if I had 3 to the 4th power, you can just know that that's 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. And so that's 9, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's another 9.
So 9 times 9 is 81.
Yeah. Okay? All right?
That's not hard at all.
That's not hard at all. So I want to make a distinction, though, for you between one that looks like this and like this. Okay? So if I had negative 5 to the 3rd and negative 5 to the 3rd, these are different. You have to be real careful. This parentheses is everything in the parentheses is being cubed. So this means negative 5 times negative 5 times negative 5. This one doesn't. This means negative, and the only thing that's being cubed is the 5. See the difference?
Yeah.
The cubed on the top one up here has a parenthesis, so the negative 5 is being cubed. But on this one, the cubed is only on the 5, so the 5 is the only one being cubed.
So that one will be negative, and that one will be positive?
That's a good question. No, actually, in this case, it's not going to change the answer much
Because
it's a cubed. And so this is going to be negative, and this is going to be
negative because there's a pair, but then there's one without a pair.
Right. So we got one. This is going to be negative 125 here, and this is going to be negative 125. Let's do one that's even. So if I had negative 3 to the 4th power and negative 3 to the 4th power, this says that I'm going to have negative 3 4 times.
Mama, I took this way.
This one, the bottom, says that the 4 is only the 4th root. Excuse me, the 4th degree or the 4th exponent is only on the 3, so that I only have 4 3s.
Yeah.
This is positive, and that's positive, and I get 81, positive 81.
Mm-hmm.
This gives me 81,
Mm-hmm.
but I have this negative here.
So it
Comes
makes
down.
it negative. Okay,
Yes.
got it.
So you need to just be careful that when it's in parentheses, it means that the whole negative 3 is has the 4th power.
Okay.
Okay?
Got
All
it.
right? So I think with this lesson we've got it done.
Yeah, great.